decoding camera angles and color codes. In F.R.O.M, the camera is a character. Have you noticed how the world shifts when it peeks over Boyd's shoulder? That's not just cinematography, it's a shift into the fear layer. From the inverted arrows in the woods to Elgin switching his flashlight from his right hand to his left, the environment is reflecting the internal soul. This isn't a horror show, it's an energetic map of human trauma. Let's look at the symbols the Warden doesn't want you to see.
Imagine 3 layers, like an illusion made of jewelry cloth, with 3 eyes. There are 3 symbols, including root symbols and the axis mundi, plus the tower from Vil Cave. Those 3 roots intersect, symbolizing the essence of F.R.O.M. Every object that enters this illusion can create a duplicate. It's like when Victor draws an emotion or a smiley face on a stone, making a perfect circle. When he tosses the stone towards a faraway tree, it comes back looking exactly the same. It becomes part of the system, but Victor's craving for perfection isn't quite right. It's flawed. They can copy anything, but the duplicates end up being dummies or defective versions. Now let's hop into an RV. Every lap changes something. Did you notice the cash register at Tian Chen's diner? Or how Cartree's cars were changing? The license plates are clues. F.R.O.M stands for Fractured Realm of Memories. It's more of a spiritual and psychological concept than a physical location. Fractured means reality is split into overlapping versions or layers of time and perception. Realm refers to a closed-off space, kind of like a dimension or a network where the usual rules of space and time don't really apply. Memories indicate that the world itself is built from fragments of collective memories, emotional imprints, regrets, fears, and desires of those stuck inside. F.R.O.M isn't just a town on Earth. It's a memory-based simulation kept in check by a regulating force, the Warden, who makes sure everything is coherent enough to function, but fractured enough to keep its inhabitants trapped. The Warden's role. In this view, the Warden isn't a real person. It's the self-aware mechanism of the prison, a red entity intelligence that watches over and resets timelines whenever the illusion is at risk of being uncovered. Its job is to maintain a balance between fear, which leads to stasis and despair, and hope, which encourages action and rebellion, ensuring that the loop keeps going indefinitely. Every glitch, duplicate or time reset we see is the Warden stitching the realm back together, making sure the prisoners never actually wake up or escape. Fear layer. This is passive, emotional, and subconscious. It holds trauma, fear, and memory loops. Hope layer. This is active, logical, and striving. It tries to change or escape. Realitas layer. This is the neutral midpoint where characters believe what's real. Warden enforcement and control. This keeps the boundaries intact. When control and will clash, the realm fractures even more, creating echoes, double scenes, or timeline intersections. That's why so many moments in F.R.O.M feel like deja vu. The memory realm is re-rendering itself under pressure. Simplified core idea, F.R.O.M is essentially a prison made out of memories. Every house, forest, and road is an echo of someone's past. The red entity, the Warden, maintains the illusion by looping and fracturing these memories, ensuring that no one can ever reach the true outside reality. In every space, whether it's a field, a house, or a door, there are these boundaries known as nodes, typically ranging from 40 to 60. Each node serves as an energetic junction that connects 3 layers. Reality layer, this is the physical medium we interact with. Energetic layer from vial, this layer is where emotions like fear and hope flow. Sealed will, represented by a red entity, this is the trapped consciousness or anchor memory. Think of the node as a cup that needs emotional energy to be poured into it to remain balanced and responsive. This energy comes from the emotional output of people nearby. The 3 emotional currents. Fear emotion, this includes feelings like fear, sorrow, regret, guilt, and grief. It's passive and absorbs energy. Hope emotion, this involves anger, courage, determination, hope, and rebellion. It's active and radiates energy. Neutral emotion, comprising acceptance, clarity, empathy, and faith. This state is balanced and centered. It harmonizes the inputs of fear and hope, allowing the node to evolve naturally. The sealed will is illusion system. It's the crystallized will of balance that was trapped to prevent the system from collapsing. It requires emotional input to function properly. In a balanced cycle, a node typically receives 40% fear. This includes emotional densities such as memory, fear, and guilt. 40% hope. This consists of emotional activities like drive, passion, and conflict. 20% neutral. This harmonizing essence includes empathy, understanding, and patience. When this ratio is maintained, the red entity remains semi-conscious and the system operates smoothly. If one side dominates, the consequences are 60% fear, the node freezes, making reality feel heavy and distorting time. 60% hope, the node overheats, leading to distortions, violence, or sudden rifts. 15% neutral, the node can't adapt, resulting in chaos or a loop-back reset. When people continuously project emotions into a node, 3 phases occur. Phase 1. Feeding. The sealed will starts to resonate, sending subtle impulses like dreams or visions. Phase 2. Merging. The host or witnesses begin to share consciousness with the illusion system. Phase 3. Synchronization. The node stabilizes into a tri-layer structure comprising the physical or reality, emotional or human field, and memory or illusion. This creates a living node that's semi-autonomous and capable of self-balance. This is what leads to phenomena where the node and human consciousness coexist and operate across different layers. Visual representation. Shoulder shot. When the shot is taken from a character's angle showing their shoulder, it represents the layer highlighting their subjective reality and inner consciousness. The camera captures their perception rather than an objective view, allowing objects outside the frame to change or disappear. Objective shot, a wide or aerial shot that doesn't align with any character, depicts the outer reality layer, showcasing a stable physical world where distortions from fear manifest. Transitions, shifts from wide shots to shoulder shots or close-ups, indicate a change between layers. This often happens during moments with characters like Boyd, Tabitha, or Sarah, when they sense things others don't. Foreground character. If we see another character's shoulder in the foreground, it indicates we're within that character's perception layer, helping clarify whose viewpoint is currently influencing the scene. Emotional layers. Fear layer. The camera captures the character's emotions and consciousness rather than the physical world. Emotional energy is intense, encompassing fear, guilt, loss, and trauma. The angle is subjective, often over the shoulder or handheld, with cooler, dim lighting that distorts space and alters the flow of time. Hope layer. This layer features moments of explosive energy, intensity, or courage. The camera is dynamic, with visible motion during confrontations or action scenes, and is brightly lit with strong contrasts, facilitating transitions between layers. reality layer. Here, the camera doesn't align with any character. It uses objective angles, wide, symmetrical or aerial, to show the overall state of the scene. The energy here is stable, flat and grounded. Light and color, the spectrum of energy. In F.R.O.M, color and light aren't just for looks, they hint at deeper energy. When the scene has cool tones, like blues and greens or dim lighting, it reflects the fear layer, tapping into memory, trauma, illusions or spiritual insights, resonating with our emotions and subconscious. Switching to soft yellow or neutral daylight shifts the vibe towards reality, bringing balance and grounding in the physical world. Bright white or high contrast light signals hope energy, showcasing clarity, rationality, and those bursts of courage or revelation. When red and orange light show up, it's often during moments of conflict or transformation, symbolizing the clash between fear and hope, the tipping point between illusion and awakening. On the other hand, purple or cold grey light represents a liminal space, the void layer, where memories, dreams, and time blur together. Direction and camera angles, position of consciousness. When the camera peeks over a character's shoulder, we see the world through their eyes, distorting space. The depth of field tightens, highlighting their subjective view. In contrast, an outside perspective anchors us in reality. The frame balances out, and the environment feels stable, reflecting the objective layer of existence. A low-angle shot drenched in strong light embodies hope, showcasing power and energy pushing outward. On the flip side, a high-angle or tilted shot hints at fear, as if the world is pressing down on the character, pulling their energy inward. In F.R.O.M, you can clearly connect these themes to the setting: fear, forests, roots, wooden houses, windows, nature feeling like a trap or a bridge. Hope, lamps, sunlight, flares, overexposure, light that transforms or ignites. Reality, roads, floors, open spaces, grounding and stability. Hope, towers, iron structures, sharp objects, reflections, cold order or control. Fear, rain, puddles, mirrored faces, reflection, memory, subconscious flow. When two elements overlap, like hope and fear, it often signals a clash between layers or a reality shift. Sound and collective emotion. The same energetic principles apply to sound. Low tones and distant echoes represent fear, the inner voice or subconscious vibration. Balanced ambient sounds belong to reality, embodying the neutral hum of existence. High metallic notes or sharp hissing express hope, representing active energy or psychic intrusion. Interpreting the layers. In summary, the fear, hope, and reality layers can be deciphered through 5 energetic codes: color and light, camera angle, camera movement, environmental elements, and sound and emotional rhythm. Each element indicates the energy flow, whether it's moving inward fear, outward hope, or remaining centered reality. Fear, internal, passive, absorbing emotions. Fear energy flows inward, seeping, reflecting, and absorbing. Its role is to store feelings and connect with memory and the soul. Fear shows up as emotional states that turn inward. It contracts the world, making everything feel cold, dim, and narrow. Grief or sorrow pulls energy down, dulling light into bluish-grey tones. Guilt and regret drag the self deeper inside, much like submerging underwater. Reflections and downward gazes take over. When compassion is inward and genuine, it becomes positive fear, a soft, healing current. Surrender or helplessness can freeze energy, making the space feel heavy and still. Melancholy or nostalgia resonates with time itself, characterized by dim, warm light and static framing. Fear can be seen as either negative passive such trauma, despair, or positive passive such acceptance, empathy. In F.R.O.M, scenes featuring Sarah or Fatima often dwell in this layer: reality, adaptive, balanced, observing emotions. In this layer, energy stabilizes, serving as the middle ground between fear and hope. Its function is to unite opposites, remaining rational and present amidst dualities. Calm focus emerges from a neutral balance, with natural colors and a steady rhythm. Conscious surrender such acceptance isn't about giving up, it's about adapting. The camera stays steady and the tone remains calm. Clarity is the essence of logic and awareness, often represented by gentle yellow light, and symmetry. Active love, or a loving presence, manifests when emotions harmonize. The shot is steady yet warm. Responsibility or groundedness focuses energy at the center, shown through neutral expressions and upright postures. This layer isn't passive or active, it's adaptive, the equilibrium between the two. In F.R.O.M, this state appears in calm, neutral moments before disruption. Hope, external, active, radiating emotions. Hope energy pushes outward, asserting, expressing, and initiating action. Its purpose is to declare, break stagnation, and propel forward. Anger bursts outward with rapid motion and dynamic camera work. Determination or courage drives forward, often highlighted by strong light and an upright stance. Desire or ambition pulls outward with sharp focus. Joy expands energy, characterized by bright light, quick rhythm, and high activity. Jealousy, lust, or obsession can distort the field, while rigid logic or willpower may be rational but forceful, marked by sharp sounds and stiff rhythms. Hope can be positive active like courage, enlightenment, or negative active such anger, domination. In F.R.O.M, characters like Jim and Boyd often find themselves in this layer, especially when they're trying to outsmart the system. Simplified emotional energy scheme. Fear, energy flows inward, passive and receptive, featuring emotions like fear, sadness, empathy, or surrender. Reality, energy centers, adaptive and observational, reflecting calmness, clarity, and responsibility. Hope, energy flows outward, active and expressive, showcasing emotions like anger, determination, joy, and ambition. Logic and strong will as hope. Surrender, fear. Introspection is fear. Calm awareness, reflection. Grounded balance is reality. The Matthews house is a node. Every node in F.R.O.M acts like a tuning chamber, holding on to someone's emotional state. When another person with a similar vibe enters, the surroundings adjust to match that energy. In the Matthews house, Tabitha's fear and curiosity leave their mark on the walls. Jim's analytical drive and frustration inject hope energy into the space. Ethan's imagination adds a neutral or worried tone regarding Julie. So, when Jim steps in, the competing energies shift the room's appearance. Decor, lamps, windows, all adjusting to a new emotional balance. Layer reaction. Visually, the decor change suggests that the reality layer, or what we see, is syncing with the memory layer, what the house remembers. The node perceives Jim's arrival as a trigger and recalibrates to maintain equilibrium between his hope surge and the existing fear residue. It's less about ghosts moving things and more like a field realigning. The physical space morphs to reflect the dominant emotional energy. This foreshadows how the broader system reacts. The more he tries to understand the town logically, the more the environment reshapes itself to challenge him. The diner. So the diner in F.R.O.M.ville is anything but ordinary. It's actually one of those key spots that keeps the town's vibes steady through routine and shared emotions. Whenever folks gather there to grab a bite, chat, or just unwind, they're basically sending out a wave of good feelings, comfort, light conversation, hope, and a sense of togetherness. This emotional sync helps keep the daytime reality stable, acting like a day node that pushes back against the fear that creeps in at night. In a way, the diner serves as the heartbeat of F.R.O.Mville's middle layer, the man who walks twice. When you see the same guy stroll by twice in one continuous shot, it's not just a coincidence, it's the reality layer glitching because the node is briefly looping time to keep everything in sync. From a technical standpoint, the crowd creates a solid neutral vibe that collective presence. Jim's curiosity and hope start to rise. He's analyzing. Ethan's quiet fear balances things out for a moment. But as Jim's focus sharpens too much, the node gets out of sync. Time rewinds for just a second, causing the guy to walk by again as the node resets its timeline. That double appearance on camera shows that the reality layer had a little hiccup. So during that dinner scene, the balance between fear and hope shifts, causing noticeable echoes like people walking by twice. Energetic reading of the scene. Reality layer, slight dezinc or micro loop, guy walks twice. Boyd and Sarah's forest adventure. The host is trying to find their way back or channel some active hope energy, which means the hope energy is in play with their intentions. The reality layer is like a physical medium. Every mark or arrow made shows the interaction between their intention or hope, and the energetic pressure in the energy layer is fear and hope. Fear pushes back against hope, creating a sort of back pressure on the reality layer. Because of this, the arrow might look reversed. The downward direction isn't because hope has turned into fear, but because of how fear and hope are interacting in reality. So, the logic goes like this. Intention energy as hope. External pressure resistance as fear. Reality layer is physical canvas. The arrow looks inverted or pointing down because fear is pushing against the hope energy, making it flow in the opposite direction. An inverted arrow is like a physical sign of the energetic struggle between the host's hope and the system's fear in the reality layer. Exactly. The main idea here is that the node itself has a kind of will or mechanism to keep the energy balanced. It's not just up to the host to be active or passive. Host carries energy, hope, or fear through intention or action, like carving an arrow. Node, an entity or energetic point that absorbs, holds, or redirects energy to keep things balanced. Interaction. When the host tries to channel hope, like finding their way back, the node can push back using fear, which results in the arrow in the reality layer looking inverted. The energy is still flowing, but in a way that keeps the system balanced. Conclusion: balance isn't just the host's job, it's about how the host, node, and reality layer interact. The node can influence the physical direction of a sign or manifestation based on what the system needs. Reorientation of direction based on host condition. There are two extremes. When the host pushes back against the node, hope pushes outward while fear resists from below, causing a collision. The arrow might look inverted and point upwards in neutral camera view, but from the host's perspective, it's actually pulling left all the way back. When the host feels suppressed by the node, fear takes over. It absorbs or holds back all hope impulses. The arrow then points downward or diagonally right, because the energy is being pulled back into the node instead of flowing out. When a host is suppressed, it's not a clear conflict like Boyd's situation. It turns into forced assimilation, where the node pulls the host's energy back into neutrality. Signs of this include the host losing their sense of direction or spatial awareness, visual disorientation, the reality layer showing distortions or arrows that seem to bow down, Physical arrows or symbols often point downward or diagonally right because they represent energy being reabsorbed by the node. So, if an upward arrow means the host is pushing back against the node as hope dominant, then a downward or right-leaning arrow means the node is absorbing the host as fear dominant. Difference between perception and camera. From the host's viewpoint, when under pressure, the downward direction might feel like a safe path, but it's really the node pulling them in. From the camera's or reality's perspective, the direction looks stable or simply down, but that's just how the node neutralizes things. So, while the camera shows a steady or downward arrow, what's really happening energetically is that they're being absorbed into the node. The direction of the arrow in the reality layer acts as a map of the ongoing conflict or harmony between the host's intention and the node's response. When the host feels pressure, the arrow points downward not because they've given up, but because the node has taken control of the energy flow, pulling it back inward. Outside the cellar, Elgin's holding the flashlight in his right hand, the hope side active, control, light. He's still in the outside trying to see and make sense of things. Check out root cellar, inside the cellar. Once he steps inside, the flashlight switches to his left hand, the fear side, passive, hidden, reflection. It's dark and quiet in there, almost like he's entered a mirrored version of reality. Meaning, crossing that door shifts the balance. Outside is hope, light and control. Inside is fear, shadow and absorption. The switch from right to left indicates that Elgin has entered the fear layer, where things reflect rather than follow the usual reality. The door is where reality flips,